We also have a tradition to turn the podium over to our Railroad Club president. And this year our club president is Chris Blessing. So I'm going to turn it over for a moment to Chris. I'll take a seat.
Everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Right, well, start off by giving a little speech. 4 years ago, my knowledge of railroads was limited to an abandoned railroad grade. Ran up along the shoreline of Willamette Peninsula from Traverse City to Northport. Occasionally, I would wonder what the folks from Chicago and Cincinnati would think with all their $2 million mansions if railroad once again ran through there. Probably wouldn't like it that much, but I always entertained the idea, and that's about as much as I thought about the railroad industry at the time. And I figured trains were just about dead, and as I would find out, so did a lot of other people. So then senior year of high school rolled around, and I decided to do a research paper on CSX. And at that time, I knew a little bit about them just from their commercials on TV about, CSX moves tomorrow. You see the commercial, you're like, well, that's great, and you don't think much of it. And then as I started researching the paper more, I found out that they're making record profits and the whole industry was booming. And it confused me because you didn't hear anything about that in the media. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I looked into the other railroads, Union Pacific, BNSF, CN. They were all the same. Norfolk Southern, just booming. And I was like, okay, well, maybe this is something to get into. And then at the very end of research, I found that piece of legislation from 1980 that totally transformed the industry from a decrepit piece of junk to an industrial powerhouse that we know it today. And that's when government's good to get out of the way, so maybe it's a lesson. But I found out about REACT through my brother. He's currently working at EHM&T down in Ohio. And he told me about it. I was interested, so my freshman year I started. Went to the first meeting. I was intrigued. Came to the second meeting, and they needed somebody to run their website. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I looked at the website, and it was basically your cliche model of something from 1994. Just blue links and stuff. And I was like, there's got to be something better than this. So I, put on this thing called Blogger and just, revamped it, made it look clean, and went from there. So I was really happy about that. And then, so the years went by, and since then I've had 3 internships, 2 with Railworks down in Youngstown, Ohio. I got the very, fortunate opportunity to actually work with the labor crews out in Kentucky, Pennsylvania, and Cleveland, Ohio. So you really learn the differences between the managerial role and the labor role. So you learn to appreciate both sides of it and respect both sides of it, because if you don't, there's a layer of disrespect that forms. So you just learn to work with it, and that was probably one of the best experiences of my life, being able to work with them out in the field. And aside from that, REACT has also given me an opportunity to visit, numerous, rail yards, mine plants, repair shops that your average ordinary person would never be able to visit. So, and knowing me, I always gawk every time I see a factory or something, like, what do they make there? How's it all work? And I don't know, I get kind of geeky about that sort of stuff, but I like industrialization, so. So also what kind of went along with my interest in railroads throughout my time at Tech was my friend Taylor he's really big into mining, so we would always go out in the Keweenaw, go on collecting trips, and then I started learning about the whole, industrial past of the, copper country, all the mines that used to be here. And, every time we go out, looking for something, it might be some mine shaft up on a hill, 4 miles out of the town, just middle of nowhere, and nobody really knows about it, but, you get out there and you cross like 3 rail grades, and like, well, that's interesting, how can this all work again? You kind of want to see it all work again. And that's spurred my interest in the whole industry, and just it kind of morphed with my interest in mining too, to all see that come back into the Upper Peninsula. And I want to make that my goal as I graduate, you know, wherever I may end up. Sorry, that wasn't me. But wherever I may end up, I'm sure I'm going to return here to make sure, you know, whatever mining company wants to start getting nickel or copper or whatever it may be out of the ground, I want to be there to help them get the railroads going again and get the semis out of Marquette. So, but I'll close out with saying this. We may not have the glory of Apple, Google, or Amazon, but who cares? The glory lies in what we do, and I'm proud to be a part of it, and so is each and every one of you. So, thank you.
Okay, I know that, I guess when you guys go to eat food, it must be that the program grows so do the speeches, so take a little bit longer time from the beginning. Before we start getting to the food part, I do like to say a few words always also on my own. And I thought about that quite a bit. I normally kind of reflect the past year and what we've done and what we succeeded, what we haven't succeeded, and so on. But I don't think I'm going to do that this year. I already did in February anyways. So, and you can really read it from the annual report if you want to. That shows all the successes, and we've done good, and a lot of good things have been done, both here at Michigan Tech and by the rail industry. So, so they take a look at it. But what I want to talk a little bit is some of the aftermath of what we talked yesterday at the advisory board. When we started 10 years ago here, one of the biggest issues, there was no visibility of the industry. Well, we worked pretty hard about creating that visibility, and I think we've done a pretty good job in building visibility within this university. I mean, there's still a long way to go in the nation or in the academia in general. But we've been growing and moving forward, we've also started to realize recently that we've got some challenges coming ahead. I guess that's one of the fun parts. Every time when you feel that you're figuring something out, another challenge hits you. And one of the challenges we talked a lot yesterday was about recruiting to the railroad companies. And our recruitment has been it's been going down over the last couple of years. It's not necessarily so much that we don't have good jobs anymore. It's the fact that a lot of other people have great jobs too. And it's a great time to be a student. I'll give you that. So I started thinking about that. Well, if we've created the visibility, what's missing? Obviously something's not enough. And after yesterday's discussions, I was kind of thinking that we got to really create this value. And that goes both ways. We need to create a value here as the rail transportation program at the university, so that the industry sees that value and is willing to invest in it. Because we do need investment. But at the same time, we also need to create the value for the students, so that they are willing to bite the bullet and go to the rail industry instead of picking some of these other industries. And the real question for us is, how do we create that value? How do we get people to recognize the value? And one of the things yesterday, I ended up listening a lot when we had our discussions with the advisory board. And there was a lot of things that, I do this day after day, and suddenly I'm like, oh, I didn't thought about that. Oh, I didn't thought about that. So I think one of the things that maybe we haven't been doing it right enough or good enough is listen. And whether it's listening on what the industry really needs from us and what their real challenges and things are that they're trying to address, or listening to our students on, well, what is it what keeps students away from the industry? We like to talk about all the great things the industry does, and it's true, but that's easy. It's much tougher to recognize where are our weaknesses and how we try to address those ones so that we can move forward. So I think that the whole discussions yesterday, a lot of discussions that have taken place today, And hopefully all the discussions that take place in these tables, we have students, we have industry, we have community members, we have academia, we have representatives. I hope that a lot of pay attention to what everybody else is saying. It's a lot about listening and about communication. And I guess I'm anxious to see, can we solve some of these issues and continue creating the success, or are some of the other industries doing a better job? So with that bright note, we're going to get to the food. I know all the food is on the back tables. And so what's going to happen, we're going to try to do this in somewhat organized chaos mode. We'll start from the table number 1. We're going to all get food. You can chat with your tables, bar is staying open. And we're probably going to be a little bit late starting our keynote speech.
I'll be quick.
Speech by Tim. It's going to be quick. So he'll catch up time once we get to that point. We'll probably start about 8:15 for that. So if the folks from the table 1 can start going back and